Hello everyone. So I've had lots of people asking about how the equipment system works, so I figured it's going to be easier to make a video, although I do still plan to put loads of information on this. I'm going to add like a little menu like here into the bestiary that'll teach you all about the equipment system, but for now this video should get you started. This is Minecraft 1.14.4, but it should be the same in 1.12, and I know lots of people are using RL Craft at the minute, so it should work the same in that as well. First thing I want to do, get rid of this junk. You don't need diamond tools where we're going, so just get rid of that crap. Free up your inventory. Right. Should start with wooden tools. So here's a piece I've made here, which is made of 3 different parts. We'll get to that in a bit. First, I should show you how to get started, because you can pretty much go straight in the game with just wood and make your first piece of equipment. So you can make a wooden rod, just with 3 sticks. A hilt. Really, this should be a hilt, not a rod, and that should be called a guard. So I might be renaming that. So for now, this is called a hilt, but it could be called a guard later. And if you craft 3 of the wooden tools, you can make a wooden paxel. This mines a little slower than iron tools, but it can harvest iron ores, it can harvest diamonds, it can like harvest everything, even though it's made of wood. So that's something to be aware of. So it is probably better than a stone tool, and kind of better than iron. It is a bit slower. But yeah, you want to move straight onto iron. So you get your wooden rod, and then 2 iron ingots, and you can make an iron rod. And then you can make an iron hilt, which again, this will be an iron guard later. And then we've got 3 different types of heads you can make. There's the axe head, the pike joint, and the iron paxel. Oh wait, no, hang on. These are heads. This goes on the end. Sorry. So hilt is a head, or guard later, axe is a head, and the pike joint is a head. So I'll explain what these are now actually. So I should probably tell you how to make the equipment forge as well. So when you're starting out early, you just need a wooden axe, crafting table, and you've got the lesser equipment forge. This is a level 1 forge. When you collect parts, there'll be different levels. So here's a Dunac spear level 3. In 1.14 versions of the mod, when you use higher level parts in a lower level forge, it will downgrade those parts, so be careful doing that. In 1.12 it won't let you use them in the forge at all. I might keep changing how this works, so keep up to date on update notes. Eventually I'll have proper information on the website. Okay, so we're going to want to start with, I'm just going to use the level 3 equipment forge. To make a level 2 you want the lesser equipment forge and an iron block, and level 3 you're going to want the greater equipment forge and diamond blocks. It's quite expensive. I recommend using just enough items or something like this for recipes though, because it's much easier just to look up how to make stuff through something like just enough items. You can get recipes for all kinds of different mods. So yeah, I always recommend doing that rather than asking people what the recipe for A, B or C is. Just get just enough items. I think lots of mod packs include them anyway. Okay, so we're going to start with making the first piece of equipment, so it's going to be all iron. So if you look at the description, ignore the item.equipment part description part. I need to remove that. You've got the slot type base. So the slot type is the most important part to look at, because that tells you what type of slot goes in. So the blue slot here is a base slot, so you can put a rod into a base slot, and you can see 2 new slots have opened up. So if you look back on the iron rod's description, you can see add slot head, add slot pommel. So this means when you put this base part into the base slot, you unlock 2 new slot types. So we've got the purple part here, which is the a purple slot, which is the head slot, and this one also includes a pommel slot. Not every one adds a pommel slot, so you can see the Argus tail here only adds a head slot, so you can't use a pommel. But usually you can see here the Argus tail has some cool effects and can even summon an Argus, depending on the level. So an Argus tail level 3 has all of its abilities, but a level 1 might not be as good. Actually, I'll grab a level 1 just to show you the difference. So here's a level 1 Argus tail. And you can see here it just has the instability debuff, and that's it. Whereas the level 3 has all these extra features, so level's quite important. You can get much better gear by getting levels. It's random what level you get. I will be looking at adding a way to upgrade the level of parts, but for now you just gotta be lucky. Just kill lots of the same mob until you get the piece you want. Okay, so I'm gonna put the rod in, and that gives us our 2 new slots. And then the hilt, which will later be renamed to guard, is the head type, slot type head, so we can put that into the head slot. And we've almost got a piece created, but to create a full piece you must have at least 3 parts. So you must have a base, you must have a head, and then something on the head. The pommel is optional, so you don't have to fill up all of them so long as 3 parts are filled up. Well, 3 or 4, because if you add a pommel you shouldn't be able to craft it. You need to have something on the head basically. So we've got our iron paxel here, slot type blade. You can see here our hilt adds slot blade, so we can whack that on and it's done. We have a full piece of crafted equipment. I do want to add a naming thing, but for now you can just use an anvil to name your equipment if you want to give it a cool name. I'm in creative mode at the minute, but the iron paxel's brilliant. It's the same speed as diamond tools, but because it's a paxel it'll do wood, dirt and stone, so you can use it to harvest everything. And by default the equipment system doesn't have durability, so you can just go nuts. Right, so we're gonna look at some other things that you can make. So if we go into, if it'll let me go into the forge, there we go. Okay, so here we've got a Wendigo antler. Oh, I just got a follow alert. I forget, I'm using OBS to record, and because yeah, it's still got my streaming alerts because I stream normally with OBS. Thanks for following anyway. Okay, so we've got the Wendigo antler. That gives us both a pommel and a head. So here we've got some heads. We've got a Venturaptor skull. We'll pop that on. I'm not sure about the design of the Venturaptor skull. Some of the parts will probably change, and I want to add a load more parts as well, and maybe some more craftable parts, because all these just drop off mobs, whereas the iron and wooden stuff can be crafted. Here we've got a Sutaramu stinger. They're the scorpions. This is a pommel, so we can put that on the back. And because this is the Venturaptor adds 2 axe slots, you can see at the bottom of the description there, add slot axe. So we've got these 2 slots here, we can add axe heads, and I think I've forgotten to include some, so I'm going to quickly grab some axe parts. The Evapula crystal's a good one, and the Remobro wing, I like to use that one. Where is it? I'm just going to search. Yeah, the one annoying thing is getting these to render properly. It's something I'm working on, so there is that as well. Okay, you can put these in any order, and you can have it with just 1 in. And if you want to edit your equipment, just pop it back in, and then we can add that part. And now we've got the full assembled amalgamation of stuff. Some equipment can look very strange. That's kind of the idea of the whole system, is you can make something amazing. Like, I think this one looks pretty cool. It's one of my favourite combos, more for aesthetics and functionality. But you can make something strange like this as well. So to figure out what this tool can do, we're gonna, for now, have to put it in the forge, and you can analyze all of the parts. Eventually I want to do something with the description here so you can get more info, but it's going to take me a while to implement because it's quite a lot to figure out. But yeah, so we've got a Wendigo Antler, which adds a slowness debuff to the target that we hit, so anything we hit with this weapon will get slowed. The Stinger adds slowness and hunger, and also lets us use the tool as a hoe and a shear. I think right clicking as a hoe or right clicking to shear isn't implemented yet, but it will be in the future. But any like cobwebs, anything that harvests from shears or hoes, this will handle now because this pommel's been added. The Venturaptor Skull adds weakness debuff to anything we hit, and the Vapula Crystal adds a Fagir, which is a debuff that stops the target from using items. Might make it so it stops ranged attacks as well, so any enemy that can attack from range, that will stop. But great for PvP because the person you're fighting can't eat or use items back to get you, so good PvP option there. And we've got the Remobra Wing, which adds a poison debuff to what you hit. Axe harvesting, so now we can use this like to get wood. And it fires a projectile. I still need to tidy up these descriptions, but you can see here this fires Venom Shot, so we can use it to fire a ranged attack by holding right click. And it also has a chance, a 5% chance to summon a Remobra, so when we're fighting things, a little pet Remobra minion will temporarily spawn and help us out for a bit. So if we try it out, if I hold right click, you can see the Venom Shot here working. This leaves a poison cloud. Beware though, this will poison you. In the future I want to add armor and shields and stuff to this system as well. I think armor crafted like this could be really cool looking, and I'll probably add like poison resistance and whatnot as well. So I'm going to set this to daytime, and sorry Aerosol, you've got a lot of health, so I'm going to test on you. If we give it a whack, yeah, it's got debuffs, it's got a big model so you can't really see it. Spider will work better. There we go, so see he's got all his debuffs and it does quite a bit of damage in one hit as well. I think there's probably a more interesting one to test. So we go back here. The Argus Tail has the instability debuff, which is really fun. I'm trying to think of a good... I'm going to use a regular head just so you can see, because some of the debuffs do conflict a little bit with each other. Also, there is a weird bug in 1.14 where you can't always grab the part out, you need to close and reopen the forge. This is in Minecraft 1.14, I don't know if it's in 12. Oh yeah, so we want an Argus Tail level 3, and then we'll just use regular parts for the rest. Where did I put the... there it is. Okay. So now I've got a normal tool. This is quite good with the iron parts. You can get a body part and just make the rest out of iron and slowly change your piece over time. So if we go back over to here, give our Aerosaur a whack. So that's the instability debuff, which randomly shoves it around. The Argus is a chaos elemental, so it's going to give a chaotic debuff. Only lasts a few seconds, but can sometimes fling them right into the air, which can make them deal falling damage. It's good for stopping large crowds of mobs as well. But yeah, there's loads of stuff. I recommend you discover them yourselves. But this is pretty much how to craft equipment, how to assemble it. We'll make another one dead quick. So we've got Spriggan Root, Banshee Eye, and a Grue Claw. Actually, if I put this in, Spriggan Root adds poison, so anything we hit is going to get poisoned. Has a chance to summon a pet Spriggan to help for a little bit when you hit something. The Banshee Eye gives fear to the target, which makes it run around aimlessly. Great against melee mobs to disrupt them, and good for PvP. And has a chance of summoning a Banshee minion as well, so we can get up to 2 minions working for us temporarily with this one. And then the Grue Claw has a chance to summon a Grue minion, so it's like this weapon could spawn up to 3 minions depending on your luck. Inflicts blindness, gives you invisibility, see how it says self in brackets. I've added some extra code to make invisibility a bit better. It should stop mobs from attacking you. and also adds cross shovel harvesting, which is something I need to show actually. I'll show you with a spear in a sec, but if we give this guy a little whack, aerosols, you can hear the fear effect. Aerosols probably aren't the best, and I think fear is broken in 1.14, so maybe should have done this video in 1.12, but it doesn't really matter. Let's give this guy a whack here. Oh, yeah, it does do a lot of damage. Yeah, 8 attack damage, 1.9 attack speed. I should probably tell you how that is worked out actually, so I'll put this back in. So here we've got the Spriggan root, so it's going to give us poison. It doesn't add any of the stats to the weapon though. The Banshee Eye gives us 2 damage with a cooldown of 1 and a range of 1, so those are averaged. The damage is always added. So if we go to the Grew Claw, this is a damage of 5, so that's 5 plus 2, which is 7, and all parts do at least 1 damage, so that gives us a total of 8 damage. This is a cooldown of 0.75, so that's averaged with the cooldown of this. That way you do have some parts which do a lot of damage but could have a cooldown of 2, so you'll have a slower weapon that hits harder. But if you then have a part of a cooldown of like 0.5, it could speed up. So it's all averaged out. Range is still 1, but you could get something that increases your range, which is quite handy. And last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make one of my favourite mining tools. So here we've got the Geonax spear. I recommend harvesting the crap out of Geonax to get this as quick as you can. It's a really good one. If you see at the bottom, it's got harvest type pickaxe, shape block, and then range 3x3x48. So that means it has area harvesting. So if we go to, hopefully I don't get killed, survival. Yep, there's that skeleton. So if we go here, you can see the harvesting in action, and a dickhead skeleton being a bitch. Let's go over here. So any type of block that you hit, it will then harvest based on where you're facing and then down. The idea is you can make stairs if you always look forwards. And so if I hit this one, we'll harvest this, and it'll be in like a straight line, just like that. I'm going to kill the skeleton though, because he's ruining the video. So we'll just go into this a minute. Right. There we go. And let's go over this one. There we go. Right. So yeah, I should probably go underground to properly show just how good this is. It doesn't work in creative mode. And if you hold shift to sneak, it won't work either. There's always a mob around when you're trying to record a video. I should have prepared a little bit more, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, game mode, survival. If we do this, you can just see how good this is at harvesting. It'll only harvest the same type of block that you hit. Oh, don't dig down with this, because that's a good way to die. But yeah, you can see Geonax Spear level 3 is incredibly powerful. You can do a lot of harvesting, but obviously only certain types of blocks, and if you just want to do one block, just sneak and you'll just do one block at a time. And I think that covers everything. I'm going to go back into creative and double check. There we go. So yeah, there's a brief rundown of the equipment system, how it works. I hope this video is helpful enough. If you want videos on more things, just ask in the comments. If you have questions, go on the Lycanites mobs Discord. There's a link in the bestiary here. I will be updating the website. The website is about to date, but there's only me working on the mods, so I can only do so much with my free time. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this helps. I'll be updating everything else soon, so get killing mobs, make some good equipment, and don't get eaten by a Gru.